Hello there, guys. I found this position, this fantastic study. I didn't think much of it first. It looks like it should be easy to win this as white, but it's really, really not. It's you have to play exact, and you have to find a number of great moves before you win this as white. Too bad I couldn't find the composer of this study. So if anybody knows that, please write a comment about it, and I will update the video information. So anyway, white to move here and win. We have the black pawn here, which is one step away from promotion. And if it promotes with now, after you move the bishop, it also promotes with a check. So this is really something we need to address, of course. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to tell you more than that. You can pause the video now and see if you can find out how white wins this. Go ahead. And welcome back. Okay, so obviously, if we start attacking now, this is just bad. We will lose this. We allow the king to come to c7, attack our pawn, and we haven't done anything about this pawn. So the same goes if we try to play the rook to b7. It's a bit better there, of course. You can maybe check, but black will be able to save the draw here. He can take a check here, but it's even better to play bishop to e5. It covers this diagonal, and also it threatens to promote with a check, and we cannot do anything about that. Even if we start checking, black king will just he cannot move here, obviously, because of the checkmate, but he can go to e8, and now we don't have anything to do. Then we have to go down, perhaps sacrifice our rook. So it's not good enough. Okay, so the first move is actually not that hard to find. It's king to b7. That's the key starting move, but we're going to find more good moves. First, it goes away from the a file, so black cannot promote with a check. And secondly, it also attacks the king more or less because it threatens c7 check and then follow up with the c8 and promotion. Okay, so this is obvious. Black's defense move is, of course, bishop e5. That's the only thing he can do. He has to cover this diagonal and at the same time move his bishop to prepare for a1 and promotion. So from here, how can white win? Again, there's only one move that allows us to keep on fighting here and win this as white. Can you find it? Yes, here we go. This bishop is too strong now defending, so we move our rook to a6. It covers the pawn and it attacks because we are threatening the rook to a8 with a checkmate. Again, obvious move for black is to promote, bring it to a queen, and what do we do? Well, we don't have much choice. We have to take it. So we have to sacrifice our rook on this pawn. And of course, black takes back with the knight. If it takes with the bishop, well, then we play c7 check and then continue, promote, and win. Okay, so we had to sacrifice our rook, and now we are in this position. We are a piece down. The knight here against two light pieces for black. But of course, we have this pawn, which is pretty strong. So from here, again, only one move wins this for white. Can you find it? If you need to pause the video again, go ahead. Yes, it's this brilliant knight sacrifice, knight d4. We are aiming for the e6 square, which is a very good square for our knight, so we have to bring it down to d4 first. Obviously, black can still not take it. He cannot move away the bishop from this diagonal. We will get a check, and then we will get a queen. And queen against two light pieces with the support of our pawns here is very easy win for white, so we don't have to look more into that. Okay, so why couldn't we play knight g7? That would also be an attempt to come here. Well, the bishop can move to d6, and when we check, he will simply attack our knight, and this is just not good enough. He can just sacrifice and then bring out his knight. Our extra pawn doesn't help us because the black king is closer, so this will just be a draw. So let's go back to here. It has to come to d4. Not only does it attack here, but it also covers b3 and c2, which makes this knight cornered. It's blocked in here, it cannot move. If we just try that, then we will simply take, and now the extra pawns will for sure help us to win this. That's not so hard to win. So the knight to d4, it prepares for going to e6 with a check, but it also blocks this knight totally. And as I said, black cannot take it. So this is really, really brilliant. Okay, so what happens now? It's black to move. If black moves away his king, well, then we can simply play c7. He's forced to sacrifice. We take back, and this knight still blocks here. So this is easy win for white. We can actually just go and get it if we want to, or we can go and support our pawns and just leave the knight hanging here in the corner. Either way, it will win. So black cannot move the king away from d8. He cannot move the knight, and now we're realizing this is a zugzwang for black now. He cannot move away the bishop from this diagonal, as we say. So, okay, what happens if black takes on h2? It's still in the diagonal, it took one pawn. You see how we win this? Yes, we block with f4. And now we are threatening this. If it takes back, well, you know what we were coming here for? To go to e6 with a check. Take the bishop. And of course, this knight is too far away. He cannot come back and sacrifice here. So this is an easy win. So the bishop cannot take here on h2. He can move this pawn, or he can move the bishop to d6. It's going to be the same situation for both of these moves. Just different draw order. Okay, so we'll look at this. Bishop d6. Now it's white's turn to move. We cannot move this bishop, this knight. It's just not good enough. As we say, then he can sacrifice here and he brings his knight out. So the knight has to stay on d4 to guard this knight, and at the right time come to e6. Instead, we have to do something else. We have to put black into his zugzwang even more and really force him to do something he doesn't want to. So we play f4. You see what happened? He cannot take it. And now he cannot go back to e5 either. And obviously he cannot go to c7 because then we have this check and we win the bishop and the game. So now we really put him in the zugzwang. The king cannot move, the bishop cannot move anywhere, the knight cannot move because he will be taken. He can only move his pawn. And it will have been the same situation if you start with the pawn instead of bishop d6, then we would have just played f4. Let's go back and look at this. If he does something like this, then we play f4, force him up here, and now it's the same situation. So black chose to go one step. That means we also choose to go one step. He takes one more step. We take one more step. And now the zugzwang is done. Black cannot move the bishop anywhere. He cannot move the knight anywhere. He cannot move the king. He will simply try to do this. And we check. And we take this. And as we see, he cannot. He can try do something like this, but he cannot stop this pawn. So he will give up after we played h4 here. It's done. Black resigns, and we win this. And I think this was a fantastic study. It had a lot more depth than the first second I saw it. So I really like exploring this and solving this. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you everybody for watching. See you later. Bye bye.